Hello, my name is Vitos and today I'll make the last fourth video for the boilerplate project. Very much in the previous three videos we had different parts of the boilerplate project. For example, part 1 we went through Excel additional, Excel dates, and another module here went to Excel last things. Then in part 2 we went to print to notepad, Excel structure, and in part 3 we went really through Excel VBA and the forms. Also table input and table settings were part of it. And now the last part of the tutorial, on the fourth tutorial, I'm going to go to the test-driven development. Okay, and just before going to the test-driven development, I'll show something. I have added something, another function just some time ago. It's called decodify time. What does it do? It translates codified time really very quickly before even starting anything. So codified time gives us this kind of thing as an example, and if we want to understand what this is, we can say I want to decodify, and I'm gonna do it like this. And for example, this one, as we see, is obviously some kind of a date time object. For example, it can be, let's say, table input range A1 value equals this, not this one, but decodify time. Yeah, and if we go here and we format it, for example, as a date, we would see that it's a date, and it's also like a, you can say, we can format it as time, and it's 6:07:43, my current time here. So this was about codify and decodify, and the function that I added. And now let's go to the test-driven development, pretty much. So the test-driven development is actually taken from one guy called Tim Ho. You can go to his GitHub profile. If you follow the documentation, here is a link here, and I have taken it like, I don't know, like 3-4 years or even more, 4 years ago, I guess. Probably this is the path to the GitHub. So I have taken it, like I said, 4 years ago, don't remember now, and I have added a few things, but let's say I guess around 95% of the test-driven development framework is his own, so all credits go to him as far as it's really quite a good code. Good job there. I'm just explaining how to implement it in the boilerplate, and I have added a few things in order to make it, let's say, fancier. So it's not only test-driven development, it's like a test framework, but I'm calling it TDD because it's fancier a bit this way. And I'm going to show you like how to use both TDD and the not TDD part. So let's imagine that we have some kind of a code here doing some tiny stuff like this one. For example, it's called test me, and in this one we simply have let's say dim my cell as range and dim my val as variant. So in this one we simply say for each my cell in table input range A1 B8. That's I'm going to select it just to show what is it, this one. So for each cell in this one, do the following. Let's say my value is my value plus 2 times 1.5. Okay, something like this. So the first will be 0 times 1.5 plus 2. It's a great one. And then here we will say my cell dot value, or not dot value, it would understand. If we write dot value here, it would be a bit faster, but I will not write it. So it would be my value times sinus of my value, for example. Yeah. Now let's see. This is, let's say, this is simply just like a small example of what can happen, like I don't know, imagine that the values here are coming for more advanced calculation, just to get the idea about the test-driven development and the development in general, the test development in general, how it works. Printing F5, and this is what we got here. I'm just going to delete everything, including the format, because the first one here was the date format. So now you see we get some values here. So let's say we are sure that our code works initially, and we are sure that all these values are correct. What we want to do is the following. Imagine that we get some additional thing to do and we want to develop further, but at the end we want to make sure that we always have this kind of values at the end and they are checked correctly. So what can we do there? Well, I have this make all values thing, which is somewhere here, and I can probably, it's a good idea to move it actually to the TDD, and I'm gonna move it there. Yeah, it's a good option. Yeah, I'll move it there, and because it is used only for the TDD, and here we can say make all values, and we can simply run it, and this is what it runs. It goes through the selection and it gives us all this interesting stuff. What is this? It's pretty much giving us things that we can copy like this and paste here greatly. Yeah, so this way we are sure that whenever we code the test me, if we change something, it could be these ones, okay? You can show, let's say, +2 plus, let's say, 0, 1. We are changing stuff. And here we get test me being code. And of course, we need also dim my array. Let's say as 16. As variant, of course, dim array counter as long, dim my cell as range. Okay, great. And now for each my cell in table input, range A1, B8. Next my cell, or simply next it, because cell is with 2. And here we say simply increment array counter. And this is using the specs.it. This comes from the TDD main specs, and new spec suite, TDD spec suite. This is the one here. So specs it, and here we say string array counter dot expect that my cell, okay, my cell value is here, okay, to be written dot to equal my array counter. In this case, as you see, arrays still start from 0, but we only work with the first, so we do not care that much about it. It's okay, like we are completely ignoring the my array 0, but it is there. Okay, so let's pretty much run it. And in order to illustrate, okay, I mean, I have added this. Let's remove it. And what should we do after running it is the following. It runs 16 tests. It compared every one of the values here with the values here. Okay. You may ask, like, why do we need this? Because it's obvious that I have taken it copy paste and it's a bit bad to compare it right now. Yes, it is. But imagine that we have made some kind of a programming that at the end it doesn't put -88 here, but it returns -89 in this one and 147 here. And after running this, we do not see immediately whether it's changed or not. So what we can do is simply have the standard expected output, which is this one, and the real output from the program, this one here, and simply see whether they work. So we run and we see the following. Wow, no, they don't work. 2 out of the 16 are changed. We were expecting 89 and we got 88. Yeah, strange. We were expecting 147 and we got 146. Yeah. I guess this one, expect to equal, should be different. Oh. Exactly, like expecting different. Yeah, like let's check it again. TDD. So yeah, this is the thing. Like, and with this we can see, hey, why do we have 8894 here on the 8 one and we have 89 here? Probably somewhere the code is somehow broken and we have broken it while we were doing test-driven development. So the good thing is that you have something to start on. And yeah, after some research you can say, hey, probably this shouldn't be like I don't know, 88 was a mistake, so some technical mistake. Should be a bit different, so 146 is here. Like I can imagine, like another scenario is the following. Let's say we are also changing this code. Imagine that this test me code is a huge one. It's not like, I don't know, like 7 lines or something. It's a huge one, and at the end there is this 0.1 adding. So somehow it comes from some other code. It's a bit spaghetti, I don't know, or anything like this. So at the end, once we run the TDD, we see immediately that something's wrong. Why is not wrong here? Because we didn't call it. So it's perfect because we didn't call it. Now we should see 18, not 16 mistakes in TDD when I call it exactly. And if you take a look at the information, you'll see that the difference is quite 181, 182, exactly like 0.1 that was added here. So that's the idea of test-driven development and in general of having tests, just to make sure that the thing that we have built so far works. It doesn't give any guarantee that our code is perfect. We only give the guarantee that our code still produces this value here after all the changes that can happen. So this is some of the TDD that we can do. Another thing in test-driven development, test me, okay, I'll name this test me sample, and I'll actually leave it here in the code. Test me sample. Yeah, test start here. So this is pretty much test number 1. Although we see here that there are quite more than one, but it doesn't matter. Here, test, okay, we can write even this is test scenario number 1. And then we put test scenario number 2. What can we write there? We can do the following. I had this kind of a function called SumArray. 35. Great. Let's imagine that actually this function does not exist. And I'm going to write it with a test-driven development actually. So this is SumArray. Yeah, it works like this. Okay, I'll leave the function and the parameters, and I'll demonstrate how to do the test-driven development. Let's say here we know that our specs IT scenario 2, for example, dot expect, and what we expect, some array 1 2 3 dot again to equal 1 plus 2 and 3 is actually 6. Yes, So we call it TDD, and we see something interesting. We see scenario number 2, expecting 0 to equal 6. So this is the real test-driven development. We write this code, then we write a few more, scenario 3, scenario 4, and we say sum array 3, 3, 3 should equal 9, and 3, 4, 3 to not equal 9, because 3, 4, 3 should be 10. And I also had some additional stuff. It's not only arrays, but it's also here values not to calculate. It's this one, so it should be 3 and 3, 6. And of course here, so 4, 5, 6, it should be 3, 3, 100, 0, equaling 106. And let's put some negatives as well. 7, so -3, -3, equaling -6. Let's run the tests again, and they should be still failing. Okay, this one is quite okay, test number 4. Test number 5, okay, all of them are not equal, so that's why it was a technical mistake. Let's run again the tests. Yes, we have 5 failing tests, so to say, test scenario 2, scenario 3. Scenario 4 is not failing because actually it doesn't return 9, it returns actually 0. So somehow, yeah, here we are on the incorrect pretty much. Then test number 5, of course, test number 6, test number 7. Yeah, all of them work. So what can we do now? We can go to sum array and we can start programming somehow. In order to make sure that the tests are passing, what can we do? We can simply write dim e as long, and we can say for e equals L bound my array, the lower bound to upper bound my array. Next, and we can say here sum array is actually sum array plus my array. Yeah, this is quite easy. Let's go to our test-driven development and run our tests. What is happening? Well, we only get one fail. That's expected. In a way, we expected 106 to equal 6. Why is this so? Well, the point is that we here have some kind of information that we should, as you see, not calculate the last value of the array. So we should remove it in our sum array. So this is what test-driven development actually does. So here we can say we are not going to loop up to the end, but we are going to loop minus last values not to calculate. So if the last value is of the array, let's say, is whatever it is, it's not going to be included. So running and everything works now. 22 out of 22 tests are passed. So the first 16 here plus another 6 here makes 22 tests. We can also export this to a notepad, and it works like this. Looks like this, and it's beautiful. The notepad is of course here, this workbook.path in the boilerplate folder in info, because I'm currently using export print to notepad. So print to notepad, this one, and this is what it works, and this is how the notepad info looks like. Here you can go to info, you can take a look at the last modified file, 629, and this is it. So we got some logging from the test-driven development, which is kind of okay, I would say. We can also write some other tests for other scenarios or other functions. Let's say test scenario 3. Or you can put like 2.1 here, for example, 2.2, 2.3. So it's some kind of information that users are having some idea of what's going on. Let's say here we can say also 1 point something united with this, even like this. And let's take a look here, changing it a bit, not 7, but let's say change it 1 to 2 and use TDD. See, expected this to make a mistake there. Okay, 1 3 1 1 2 equal 1 3 1 2, and it told us like it was on 115 on this scenario here. Yeah, okay, we can also add the word scenario, for example. So this way you understand which scenario has failed. It's scenario 115, with other words, scenario 1 this one, and 15 is this one. So yeah, we fix it back. We run the test. It runs completely nicely, quickly. Okay, let's write test for something else. There was something called column to letter. This function here, and I'll pretty much write some code for it. So specs it scenario 3.1 dot expect column to letter, and let's take 26th to equal z, or to equal z1. Let's see whether it would work. Probably not. Yes, z1 should be like this. Yeah, this is slowly how tests work. This is not test-driven development as far as we are writing the tests after the code, and it should be the other way around, as I showed you in the sum array example, but that's it, how it works. So yeah, having a few tests is always fun, always interesting. I'll leave this and yeah, test my sample. For example, I'll leave this here, for example, just to show once again what would happen if we do it. Yes, it says like nothing is equal to empty. So this is how it works. So pretty much this is it. This is the test-driven development. I mean, I didn't go on purpose on all the modules here in the classes because they're actually taken from another repository. It's not mine, and I have only added, I think, some array or comparison of arrays or something like this. Compare arrays. Yes, this was the thing that I entered, like tiny change. But the point is that it's code that I am using completely for, I think, already like some years. And the thing is that you can always say, yeah, I'm using tests in VBA. So you will be one of the fancy guys doing this thing actually. So thank you for watching me. Thank you for watching all the 4 videos if you have watched them. And if you have any ideas about how to improve the boilerplate, simply make a pull request, or I don't know, write in the comments below YouTube, or I don't know, simply improve it and make a fork in GitHub. Pretty much that's all. Feel free to subscribe, comment, and have a great day, great night, or whatever part of the day is there with you. That's all. Bye.